Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another fishing video here today on the channel. Today we are back out at another juicy little local pond that you've seen me at quite a few of my recent videos. Today we are doing another micro lure challenge. And it's going to be pretty interesting. I'll talk more about it once we get to the pond. I tried fishing this morning, but it absolutely poured on me. So we're coming out, it's probably about midday, so it's not the best time to fish. But we're just going to have to see if we can't get on any fish here with these micro lures that I have planned. So let's get to the spot. Stick with it, stay tuned. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers before August 21st so that I hit 500 before my first year's up on YouTube. So make sure you hit that subscribe so we can get there. And let's get to the water. Let's get on. It's a big old bass. Alright guys, we're at the little micro pond right now. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on what I'm using for this little challenge. I'm using a micro crankbait is essentially what I'm doing. But I got multiple ones. I got a little micro jerkbait right there. I got a little micro medium diving crankbait. And then a micro little lipless crankbait right there. All tiny little crankbaits as well. What I have tied up right now is the smallest of them. This little tiny little square bill crankbait right there, if you guys can see that. So I'm just going to be kind of carrying these around the pond, seeing what we can catch. If you guys remember, about 2-3 weeks ago, I did a little challenge where I used a micro frog lure, which is essentially a little square bill crankbait in the shape of a frog. And at this pond, it absolutely killed it with bass as well as some bluegill as well. So we're going to be really seeing what these little crankbaits can do. Hopefully we can't get on some bass in this little pond. Let's get right into it. Oh, bass is gonna eat it. He ate it. Oh my god, bass ate it second cast. Are you kidding? How did it not get hooked? It ate it. Oh my god, it ate it right on the hook too. Oh my god, there's like 5 or 6 bass. Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many. Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. Oh my god, there were like 5 or 6 bass and one of them ate it. That was like second cast. That was crazy. Bass right there. There's so many. And they're definitely attracted to this little bait. They just don't fully eat it except that one. Oh, that's a fish. Oh my god, it's a tiny bluegill. Are you kidding? Look at that on the micro crankbait. There are bass that were following it up too, and this micro bluegill took it. Well, let's get this guy unhooked and back into the water. Alright guys, little bluegill. It's nothing huge, but we're gonna get a bass on every single one of these. Oh, accidentally almost hooked him. There he goes. There's actually a snake in the water over there. If you guys can see that. You definitely can't see that, but it's a decent little water snake, whatever kind it is. That bluegill killed it right as soon as it hit the water. We're going to get a bass on each of these. I've had some interest already from the bass. Now we just need one to fully commit. There's a bass. Oh, that was a decent sized bass. Oh, he ate it. No! Why didn't he get hooked? He ate it. He just didn't get the hook. Why? No. That was a good sized bass. Probably like close to 2. He literally slurped it in. But he didn't get hooked. He was just chilling in this shallow grass. Just gonna move it super slowly. There are like hundreds of bluegills here too. I bet one will eat it if I just drop it in. Oh my god. They all swarm to it as soon as I drop it in. Easy. There's so many. Let's see if this dude will just... Nope. I actually have to get this guy unhooked. That's definitely the biggest fish of the day. It's just another little bluegill. And he cranked the little crankbait. Not the almost 2-pound bass that ate it and then didn't get hooked, but a solid fish nonetheless. Let's get him back. Yee, there he goes. Didn't even have to move the crankbait, just kind of let it sit there. And he just came up and cranked it. He hit it, got the bass, finally. Oh, it's such a small bass. But it's a bass on the crankbait. I did not realize how small this fish was. Jeez, that is tiny, and he's gonna get me hooked. Well, you throw a micro crankbait, and you catch a absolutely micro bass. Probably around quarter, eighth of a pound. It's so tiny. Just a little guy, but on that crankbait, now we can tie another one up and maybe get on a little bit bigger one. Let's get this guy back. Let's get this tiny little bass, the first one of the day, the first bass of the day, back in the water. He goes back right into the grass. All right, now we have to choose from, we caught a bunch of fish. They're all mostly bluegill, but this was the smallest crankbait, this little one. So now we have to choose from little medium diving crankbait, the little lipless crankbait, medium diver, and this little jerkbait type thing. I think we're gonna go with this medium diver. Maybe get down there a little bit deeper than I was with that little square bill. We'll try this. Oh, that's a fish. Oh, it's a bass. Let's go. It's a little bass on the medium diving crankbait. Ah, it came off. No. There we go. Probably about the same size. Another little guy. Let's get him back. All right, guys. Let's get this little guy back. Cranked the little medium diving crankbait. Probably switch up to that little lipless crankbait, but that was the first fish on this one. Decent little bass. Absolutely destroyed it. Probably out halfway through my reel in. Just absolutely killed it. I was reeling it in pretty fast as well, so he was an aggressive little guy. Let's tie in one of these other crankbaits and see if we can't get on another fish. Alright guys, at this point in the video, I'm actually voicing over this clip just to clear a few things up. One thing, I apologize, this video kind of jumps all around. I ended up catching like 4 or 5 bluegill on that first crankbait. I only put 2 in the video. And also the audio is kind of being weird on my GoPro. It kind of, in some of the clips it works, some of the clips it's just completely silent, which is kind of why it skips around a little bit. Good thing that the fish catches, at least the bass catches that I had, all had the audio working. But after that second fish, that second bass of the day on that little medium diver micro crankbait, I ended up putting on that little craw-colored, that crayfish-colored red lipless crankbait. Just decided to try that. Maybe 10-15 minutes I threw it. Ended up not catching anything. I was about to leave, and I decided let's put on, or I had a jig, a little Guggen Squad finesse jig. I decided that it was already on my baitcaster tied on, so I decided to throw that around a little bit. And then this happened. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Let's get into the clip right here. Oh my god, I got one. No way. It ate it as I was swimming it in. That's so sick. It's not a big fish, probably around a pound, but it ate the little juicy jig with the bandito bug trailer as I was swimming it. Oh god. There we go. That's the biggest one of the day. Put down those little micro crankbaits and picked up the jig. Put a little bandito bug on the back. It's definitely the biggest one, probably around a pound. Nothing too big. I got a bite way out there on my first cast with it, and that dude destroyed it right at the bank. Definitely the biggest one of the day. Let's get him back. Biggest fish of the day. Not a huge fish, probably about a pound, but let's get him back. There he goes. Right at the bank on that little juicy jig from the Guggen Baits with the El Natural little bandito bug on the back, just swimming it like a swim jig in, and he cranked it. Maybe I should have been throwing the jig because I've already gotten 2 bites with it, and they're both better fish. Alright guys, I'm not sure how much of the last about 20 minutes I showed, but I threw that swim jig, or I threw that finesse jig, but I was kind of just swimming it in. I got a few bites, got one really good bite. It was probably around a 2-pounder that I lost, and then obviously caught that about 1-pounder. But that's gonna about do it for today's video. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe with those notifications on so you get notified every time I post a new video. We ended up starting out with that challenge, trying to only use those micro crankbaits. We caught a bunch of bluegill on that little square bill. We caught that and a bass on that square bill, that micro square bill, and we caught another little bass on the medium diving little micro crankbait. Ended up not catching anything on the lipless and didn't even try to throw that little jerkbait type deal, but ended up being a pretty good day. Make sure you hit that like I said. Comment down below what you want to see me do next, because I read all your comments. I will reply to all your comments, especially the video ideas. But make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.